She shall not be made a slave to the husband or to the family. If you have no delight in her, wife number one, husband, if you have no delight in her, you must let her go. You've humbled her, you had sex with her, but you must let her go without money and without making merchandise. Meaning, you have set her free by pointing her to the Elohim of Israel, and because you have pointed her to the Elohim of Israel, you have set her free. She is never to be taken into bondage again. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. So is this about sex? Or is this about freedom? It's all about freedom. Free to come in, free to serve Yahweh, free to be his disciple, and then if things don't work out, she's free to leave and come and go as she pleases. Does that sound like sex slavery to you? But isn't that what they tell you? Oh, that plural marriage stuff. You mean you're just trying to abuse and subjugate women? This is not about abuse and subjugation of women, Bruno. In other words, she has the opportunity to be a disciple. If he no longer sees her being a disciple and being faithful, he can ask her to leave, but he cannot sell her contract. He cannot prostitute her. He cannot make merchandise of her. You see the rachamim? It's always about rachamim. I said it's always about rachamim. Can I hear a good amen? Amen. It's a rachamim in her coming. It's a rachamim in her transition. It's a rachamim in her being a new creation. It's rachamim of her staying. It's rachamim in her going. In all cases, she must be shown what? Rachamim. What happens if he asks her to leave? What happens if he asks her to leave? She must be shown rachamim. She's not a slave, a sex slave, and she's not to be made merchandise of, and she's not to be prostituted. So the whole point of patriarchal marriage is to give a captive woman the opportunity to be free. A chance to be free. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you'll be free indeed. If you know the whole truth, the complete truth, so help me Yahweh, you shall be free. Amen. Even if this woman doesn't remain in his house, has she been made free? Yes. Has she come to know the ways of Yahweh? Yes. Has she seen the love, the nurture, and admonition of a kosher Israelite family? Yes, she has. So now she has that seed in her, and she can take that seed out with her. It's been planted in her by the engrafted word of Yahweh that lives and abides forever. Anybody enjoy?
Very good.
So once she goes out of the home, she shall not be made a slave to the husband or the family. She also is free to remain single. Now watch this freedom. She was a captive woman, but not anymore. The husband found no favor in her. She is now free to leave, number one. Number two, she's free to remain single. Or number three, she's free to remarry in Israel.
Okay, that's what I want to know. There you go. There you go.
This is what plural marriage is all about, Sister Donna. Giving freedom and extra freedom and more freedom. Free to stay, free to go. If the husband doesn't want her to stay, she's free to remarry. If she doesn't want to remarry, she's free to remain single. If she doesn't want to remain single, she is free to just leave and do anything she wants, including, Yahweh forbid, returning to the state of her captivity. Yahweh will never stop you from hurting yourself if you don't want to abide in the rachamim of Torah. Now you show me where this is about sex. Show it to me. That's a deceiving spirit. You know why it's a deceiving spirit? It comes against this teaching and against monogamy, all marriage. For the Spirit speaketh expressly, 1 Timothy 4:1. In the latter days men shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons, forbidding to marry.
Yes.
In other words, Baba, you don't you have a good laugh when a man has 3 girlfriends. Hugh Hefner has 3 girlfriends. He gets a cable channel and he gets his own program. But if he were to marry those 3 legally in the United States of America, he would go to jail.
It will make no sense.
And so it is when you're captive to the ways of the world. And so it is. Praise Yahweh. We rest on the rachamim of Torah.
Amen.
I said the rachamim of Torah. She's free to go. The husband finds no more favor in her. She's free to go where she will. Look at that, verse 14. Not just go where she will. You shall not sell her for money. You shall not make merchandise of her, because you have humbled her. So here we clearly see, brothers and sisters, both patriarchal or monogamous marriage, not as abusive or a domination of women, but as means to love, manifest mercy, discipleship, and freedom. I'll say that again. Marriage, both monogamous and plural, is not abusive or a domination of women. Rather, it is the means by which Yahweh can love, manifest mercy, discipleship, and freedom to women. Just because some do not practice this freedom and mercy does not mean that Yahweh is not kadosh. Does not mean that his ways are not kadosh. It means man's heart will find a way to abuse Yahweh's instructions, whether monogamy or patriarchal marriage. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Let me read that again. It is man's heart who finds a way to abuse Yahweh's instructions, whether monogamy or patriarchal marriage. I always like to share this. Do we live in a predominantly monogamous society today in the West? Okay. The courts are full of restraining orders, are they not?
Yes, they are.
The courts are full of domestic abuse cases, spousal abuse cases, are they not? How many of the cases today in the court system of the Western countries are related to plural or patriarchal marriage? Either 0% or 1% of 1%. All the cases in today's court systems are because of monogamous, spousal, domestic violence abuses. So in other words, monogamy is not the problem. Patriarchal marriage is not the problem. You know what the problem is?
The heart.
Brother Chris? If Brother Moshe enters a monogamous relationship, Yahweh forbid, if my heart's not checked and led by the Ruach HaKodesh, I can commit abuse. If I enter into a patriarchal relationship, I also can commit abuse. So it's not the type of marriage Yahweh chooses for you, it's your heart that is the one that rebels and causes wickedness and evil. Does any of that make sense?
Amen.
I said, does any of that make sense?
Amen.
Baruch Hashem
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Let's take Muhammad, for example. You take him, I'll leave him. Now, hang on to every word I'm sharing today, because it's not going to happen again next week. The next time this would happen, unless Yahweh gives me the go-ahead, unless Yahweh gives me the clearance, next year. Or when we come to another part of the Torah where I'm allowed to share this. So grab onto every word. Don't look at your hand, don't look at your clock. All right? Don't let me see you have watchinitis. How many know what watchinitis is? Muhammad, the Muslim prophet, was a classic example of the abuse of the freedom that we just read about in Torah. He abused his wives, as we all know, 15 of them, and took a 9-year-old child bride and violated her. When the prophet, the Muslim prophet, saw Abiyah, that was her name, a 9-year-old playing with her dolls, he came in, removed the dolls, and forced himself upon a 9-year-old. So much for the Muslim prophet. So does that mean, now I've had people say to me, Rabbi Moshe, we're out of here. We're gone. We're leaving.
Bye.
Why? Because you are teaching the same mess, plural marriage, patriarchal marriage, as Muhammad.
Right.
And Muhammad violated a 9-year-old girl. How dare you, Rabbi Moshe, share the same things with the innocent, kadosh people of Yahweh that Muhammad practiced. You who preach the end-time beast. You who preach Islam as the end-time beast. How can you turn around and justify the sexual behaviors of Muhammad? See how people twist the truth? Would you allow me to let you in on a little clue? Just because Islam's founder perverted Torah does not mean that Yahweh is dirty, does not mean that Yahweh is wrong about what he allows.